Futures literacy is a capability, and it's a capability to imagine multiple futures and to become aware of your assumptions you make about the future. So maybe look at it this way. When we look at the future, we use a certain frame. And that frame consists of our upbringing, our ideas, movies that we've seen, books that we've read. That's the frame through which we look at the future. And then we make assumptions. That certain things will always exist, some things will not exist anymore. That frame can be very useful. So we can make decisions based on that frame, on our assumptions. But sometimes that frame can also keep us in a certain story. It can keep us in a certain similar decision-making process. So what futures literacy does, it helps you to imagine multiple futures. So you can see more pathways, more different scenarios that can expand that frame a little bit. So the more you imagine multiple futures, that's why it's called futures literacy, plural, the more you can imagine, the more possibilities you see in the present. And understanding when is it useful to make use of the frame and when is it useful to expand the frame, that's when you become futures literate. Yes, it can help organizations to make better informed decisions. So what it does is that it helps organizations become aware of the predictions that they use, the trends that they see, how certain assumptions and convictions and policies help them in their decision making, but sometimes can be also limited. And those limitations can be useful again, but sometimes, in especially times like this, we need a different way of thinking about problems. We need maybe a different way for decision making and different ideas, different possibilities, different ways of doing things. These times are challenging. There are many global challenges around us that provoke us, and especially in those times, it becomes very helpful to think, okay, we've always been making decisions in this certain way. We've always been doing it this certain way. We've always assumed that life would become better for the next generation. We always assume that technology will solve problems. But what if we play with these assumptions? And you can do that by expanding your imagination. So really practice yourself in that. And then organizations, if they come up with new policies, new strategies, new missions and visions, they make decisions who are just better informed. We don't know whether they're better, but because they have explored multiple scenarios, they understand the frame through which they look at the future, that can help them to make wiser decisions. And because you're exploring multiple futures, that can create a sense of resilience. Like, okay, if I'm betting on one particular scenario, because organizations like to do that, they like to eliminate uncertainty as much as we can. Most humans do. We don't like uncertainty. We like to know what is happening. Give me a crystal ball, look at it and tell me what is the future, so I can make decisions and know exactly what's going to happen and how to get there. And I have a sense of control. But that sense of control is false. We don't always have a sense of control. Many times we don't have control at all. So how do we relate to that uncertainty and not knowing? You can try to become better prepared, or you can say, how can I make myself so flexible in my thinking and so adaptable that whatever happens, I understand that that's the reality, things change, and I can make decisions accordingly. I can implement uncertainty in my strategy and decision making. So when something unexpected happens, I do not hold on to fear, but actually continue to see our possibilities and opportunities in the present. That's why I think it's very important for organizations to develop this capability. Yes, but we've always used the future. So we just think about it more now because a lot of our assumptions about the future are being challenged. Like think about the spread of democracy, whether there will be a war on the European continent. We're starting to really feel the effects of climate change. Yeah? So COVID happened. And all these scenarios about thunderstorm, extreme weather, people with masks on their faces, AI making decisions, all these scenarios used to be the stuff of movies, on books. And we would think about the future and those are the images that would pop up. Now they have become a reality, so people's assumptions about what was going to happen are being challenged. A lot of things that we assumed would continue or discontinue now turn out to be different. And that makes us feel a little bit anxious, can make us feel uncertain. So it feels like the future is everywhere right now. But we have to understand that we've always used the future, and we always will use the future. Everybody does so every day, all day long. It's becoming aware of how we use it, in what particular context, for what particular purpose. That is part of futures literacy. I think Fundesplei is also a futures-oriented institution, a center, because it really takes inspiration from what it thinks the future will be, what it hopes the future will be. It has created a space for informal learning outside of the classroom, in nature, in the community. I think that is very, very powerful, and it really goes beyond the traditional educational paradigm. It really creates a space where it's normal to learn informally, and so in that sense, I think it is very futures-oriented. I would also like to say that regular educational institutes are full of planned and prepared courses to say that we prepare students for jobs that don't exist yet, or we prepare students for skills, or we prepare them for something that we cannot know in advance. So, and because we cannot know in advance what will be important in 5 years, it's very strange to completely plan a curriculum based on that idea. That's why it's important to create spaces where students learn informally, to keep a certain openness and not plan everything accordingly. Yeah? And to use the environment, use the community, but also the natural environment that inspires students and then helps them question things. I think that in itself is very futures-oriented, and I think that Fundesplei has all of it. It has it's a beautiful building. It has very strong value. It's very strong value-driven. It has a wide range of educational programs and activities. Sustainability is really important, but also community and contributing to a better world. And that common goal is probably what makes it stand apart. There are more universities in the world that say, oh, we create citizens to make a better world, but not everybody walks the talk. And I think what is so special about Fundesplei is that they really walk the walk.